I'm going to tell them you got to do less. Tell your fragile ego that if something is not working, it doesn't mean you keep doing more of it. That's literally the definition of insanity. People need to know what you want. Start with your boss. And I help my clients internally with promotions as well. We need to have conversations and uncomfortable conversations. The earlier and the more frequently we have them, the better it is. But how you approach these conversations, they matter.
Hi there. Welcome to Productivi-Tree. I'm Santi Tacoronte, and I'm here to help you succeed and be happier. In each episode, we'll explore new ways to work smarter, manage your time better, and grow as a person. We'll share fresh ideas, find ways to improve, and help you become your best self at work, in life. Join me as we learn and grow together on Productivi-Tree. Sonal Bahl is a career strategist and founder of Supercharge, a career advisory firm with clients on all habitable continents. A former HR director with nearly 2 decades in global HR leadership and companies like GE and PwC. She has screened over 250,000 resumes and conducted over 5,000 interviews across the world. She holds an MBA from INSEAD, ranked #1 in Europe and 2 top business schools globally, and was named LinkedIn Top Voice in both 2024 and 2025. Absolutely impressive. She is also the host of How I Got Hired, a podcast rated top 25 career in 50 countries. She has listeners from 132 countries and 3,100 cities worldwide. Sonal now works with senior leaders to close the gap between what they deliver and what they are known for. And she is with us today. Sonal, welcome to Productivi-Tree.
Thank you so much for having me, Santi.
How did you get into helping people position themselves in the job markets? What is your trajectory? How did you reach to this point?
Very accidental. I would love to tell you it was planned, and it wasn't. And we were chatting a little bit offline, and I loved being in corporate. I was in corporate for 18 years, and I loved it till I didn't. It's as simple as that. And it didn't mean that I went from corporate to what I'm doing today. And I had a period of lost and found, I like to call it, where I didn't even know what the word entrepreneur was, to be honest. I never thought of it. I never thought of myself as one. And it was more sort of, let's go and find another job. Let's go. We need to get paid. It's not cheap living in, countries in Europe with massive taxes and, having kids, etc. So I need to get back to work. And I applied to tons of roles, and no one was hiring at the level that I was seeking. So I was like, okay, what's the next best thing I could do? I think I can help people. Let me start with a YouTube channel and let's see what happens. And I posted a couple of videos, and I took those videos and I put them on LinkedIn, and one person reached out and another person reached out. And before you knew it, I was looking online on how to set up a business, how to have a VAT number in Belgium, and the rest is history. So it was survival.
I love it. Sonal, you have reviewed hundreds of thousands of CVs. I think it's a crazy amount. What have you found? What is the common pattern you see in high performers that are stuck?
High performers that are stuck after I've reviewed the CVs, you mean?
Yes, after looking at all this data within your brain, what is the common theme across all them?
The common theme I'm going to say is that when things are working, that is not the time you look for help. When things are breaking, which is normal, right? Which is when things are breaking, that's when you look for help. And because you're a high performer, you are asking the wrong questions, and you're asking, what else can I do? What more can I do? What more? Do and do and do. And I think that is where a lot of us go around in spirals. And for me, it's less about doing and more about being. Because you have people who have done really well for themselves. It's not about proving again and again. It's about recognizing, okay. And this is going to sound super woo, but it's anything but. And it's about recognizing. So I call it the do be framework. It's about being and showing up at the level that you already know you're at. And when you recognize that, like, this is what I do and these are the problems I solve, and it's at that level which is really painful to the company, and we can get into the painkiller framework. um it's very hard for you to go back to the doing. You know what, I think it's my CV. Can you help me with my CV? And we get into those. I get into Q&A with people, and it turns out CV was never the problem to begin with.
Mm.
Sometimes there is, because it's a little bit too much responsibility focused versus achievement focused. But that's an easy tweak that ChatGPT can do for you in 20 seconds. So it's more about, you know, these are the cool things I've done, but I'm so close to it right now, I don't even realize how cool that is. And I assume everybody else knows and everybody else has done what I've done. And that's not possible. So it's like, that 360 view, you can never take that. You can never take that bird's eye view and look at the forest from the trees, because you're too close to it. You're inside the forest. So it helps to talk with someone who has a little bit of a bigger picture, and it doesn't have to be a coach. It can be a friend who's a little bit more objective about life and careers in general.
Hmm. You have a concept that says candy, vitamin, and painkiller positioning. What is that?
Yeah. I wish I could say this is my concept. I borrowed it from some VC in California who talked about this with regards to ARR, annual recurring revenue. And he said we like painkillers because people want to keep, subscribing and keep paying monthly memberships. So the vitamin painkiller, we didn't talk about candy. Candy is the very nice to have. So candy would be a person at work who's doing cool things, fun things. It's nice to have. It tastes really good in that moment, and then it's over, and then you don't miss it. The vitamin is the helpful person, capable. They really know what they're doing. They're really good at what they're doing. So most of us, for the longest time, Santiago, and I viewed myself as a vitamin. The painkiller is a little bit different. The painkiller looks at problems, risks, what can go wrong. And the more expensive the problem, the more visible the problem, and the more urgent the problem. That painkiller has what I would call a positioning advantage, a positioning leverage, where HR is suddenly like creating exceptions. He went from expat to localized. It's okay, let them keep their benefits because we can't afford to lose these people. They really, not only are they good at what to do, we can't afford to lose them. Let's do whatever it takes to keep them happy. So a painkiller solves a problem, but it's a very expensive problem and a very visible problem.
Is the visibility problem getting worse these days? Now, we know that we're in a cycle where companies are trying to get leaner, in some cases with the excuse of AI, or putting AI as we can do more with less people. Is it more important than ever to be visible?
It is very important to be visible, but I don't want the listener to listen to this and think, oh my gosh, I have to be visible. What am I going to do to be more visible, and the focus on the doing part? So if I were starting my career, Santi, if I were starting my career now in my 20s, I would say it would be a problem. Because if I were, focused on hybrid or remote, and if I'm interested in corporate, then I would say it would be a problem. But if you've grown up like me in the early 2000s, I started my career in the year 2000, there was no such thing as work from home at that time. So, you learn the tricks of the trade, and you learn, oh, these are when important meetings are. Let me be there. Let me be visible, right? I want to be memorable. I want to be top of mind. So I wouldn't say it's a problem. I would say it's just one more aspect that one has to navigate. It's an interesting challenge that comes up, and you want to be there. If you're not there in person, you wanna have a cadence. You want to know what's going on, because I don't like being out of things, and I think you don't either, right? When it's like weeks go by, no news is bad news. So what exactly is going on. So it does help to know not only like gossip and water cooler conversations, but also sometimes being there with the troops, breaking the bread. Um, it helps from a social cohesion point of view as well. So as much as possible, it does. I would say in corporate, it does help.
Now, when we talk about positioning, and you hinted at it already, people think about go to LinkedIn and start writing posts, personal brand, self promotion. How is what you teach different to
Yeah.
that?
I am not a huge fan of going out on LinkedIn and starting to create posts already. Listen, I mean, if you want to do that, that makes you happy, then do it. Okay. But I'm not sure it's the best use. You're a product, you're related to productivity, right? Today. So it's not the most productive use of time. It's a good feeling, and in that moment gives a little bit of dopamine. We get a couple of likes and then it's over. For me, it's more than a content framework. I am more interested. There's two things. One is a comment framework versus a content framework. That's one. And the second is, uh, I'm a little bit of a lazy person, Santi. I like to do things that will give me return for a very long time, which is why I started a YouTube channel, which is way more like it serves and gives me leads way more than like Instagram or LinkedIn ever will. So, in that frame, an optimized LinkedIn profile is going to work for years for you and bring in like recruiters or conversations or customers, whatever you're looking for. Two things. So, the first is with regards to comment. I've said this way before LinkedIn started saying this. LinkedIn has started amplifying comments, but I've been talking about this since 2021. When you see something you like, it's already been created by someone. You don't have to create it. Write about why you liked it. Why did you like that post? Why did you like the video? And don't be lazy and don't go to AI. Nice post. I really enjoyed reading it. Thank you for sharing. Or the AI version where people start writing complete garbage that they would never say out loud. Don't do that. Write about why you. So there are three ways you can create. I like to be a little tactical here, Santiago. Feel free to let me know if it's too much. Write why you enjoyed the post. Number one. Number two, add a point of view. Add your own experience why you enjoyed it. And third, if you feel comfortable and you know the person who posted, don't hesitate to add a little bit of a devil's advocate. Obviously, it has to feel safe for both, that you're not hijacking the post. This is way more important than creating content and writing for an article for hours that maybe no one's going to read. Not the best use of your time, but eyeballs are going to come into the comment part, which is really good. And they're like, hey, actually, I've got like interesting like clients and podcast conversations because of a simple comment. And it's because the brain was being used, not AI, the human brain, which cannot be copied. So that's one. And the second is having an optimized LinkedIn profile. I call these my Fab Four. So the headline just below your face, right? You have a nice profile picture and you have the headline. You have an about section, which is a little bit more storyfied because remember, it's social media. Somebody's reading it. So it's not just for you. It's not a CV, right? It's not just for a recruiter. It's one size fits all. It's for the whole world. And the about section, the headline, recommendations definitely help as well for those who are because your recommendations there's a paper trail, there's a trace there. And the fourth is the very hardworking soldiers that never get mentioned, and that is the skill section. That works really hard for you. That is very optimized. That is one of the few sections on LinkedIn on your profile that has software code in the background. So it helps you to come up higher in search results. So I'm a fan of doing a few things once and reaping the rewards. So comment strategy and having a strong LinkedIn profile, which actually talks about what you do. Like, your headline is not your current role, right? What are you solving? And I have a formula for that as well. But essentially, when someone reads your profile, it's not copy pastable. It belongs to Santi. Nobody else could have, written that. For me, that's way more memorable, and no need to shout from the rooftops, and no need to write about fantastic articles and think about personal brand has always been there. It's been there from the time of kings and queens. We don't have to create something. You have a personal brand whether you like it or not. It's more being a little bit more in control of the narrative.
Very interesting. And I know that we have had a few episodes about LinkedIn and how to position. But in my own experience, LinkedIn is good for certain things, but it's not great for others. And in the field of, for example, a job search, how much weight do you put with your clients on, spend time in LinkedIn? Oh, let's put aside creating posts, just commenting and looking what people is doing versus reaching out directly to hiring managers or leaders that are in positions. How do you split this social media online um, inbound content generation versus going out there and reaching out to people?
Yeah. I can tell you from personal experience when I was in active job search mode, and this continues to be the case today. If you're actively looking for something, I would say LinkedIn can feel a little bit toxic. And I know that sounds a bit extreme because immediately we get into comparison mode, whether we like it or not. This person is so successful. I'm happy to announce. I'm humbled to announce, and I got this award. And you're like, what? This person? Like, she joined the company 2 years ago and she's got AVP? What? The world is upside down. So I tell my clients to spend as little time on LinkedIn as possible. We do it in the beginning for profile optimization. And then when it comes to outreach, we have our mapping, our network mapping. And there, I am interested in the path of least resistance. So if email works, let's get their email address and let's write to them, but no generic, no spam, no copy paste messages. If they don't respond on email, we try on LinkedIn DMs as well. But DM is not the same as being in the feed. And the feed, um, unless you have really curated it, I would stay away from it. Because there's all kinds of stuff, and now even more with AI, there's a lot of uninspiring stuff. But having said that, I'm not one of those people that complains. I have curated it really well, and when I see someone's post in my feed, it's because I want to see it. And if I don't want to see it, I have a choice: click unfollow, uh, disconnect. They won't come to know. That's fine. But it's free. So I have no business complaining about this. It's a free platform. It's helped me since 2005. It's changed my life. So it's up to me what I do with it.
You help mostly middle management who wants to get into senior management.
Yeah.
When you
Mid
work
to, mid to senior, mid to senior
mid
managers
to
that I
senior,
help. Yeah. Yeah.
when you work with these clients, this profile, these people, what do you see that is mostly preventing them to make the leap?
Hmm. It's a good question. Um, I would say the first is I think the most important thing is I know this is going to sound a bit strange, but it's going to be when I hear when I hear people complain, this is how the market is, this is how the economy is, and it's the hiring manager's fault, and recruitment is broken. I feel like they attract more and more negativity. And sometimes I know I'll meet people and I'll say, you know what, this is not the right fit. It's not going to work out. And the one who does the opposite of this is the one who believes in hope. And they're like, no, I think there is a lot I can still contribute. The best is yet to come. So the complainers versus the obtainers. And it's shocking to me what a difference it makes, even with, people inside my own program. The ones that struggle are the ones that always look for reasons why it's not working. And the fault is always on the outside.
Did you say that recruitment? Some people think you didn't say that. You quoted some people who says that recruitment is broken. Do you think?
I think it has always been. I don't think this is new. And AI has not changed anything. I think it has only made it visible. Because for the longest time, from our parents and grandparents' time, there would always be like nepotism. You can say that is the reason for it being broken. Nepotism has always been there. And now it's like worse. People say it's volumes. 1,000 people, first of all, if 1,000 people clicked apply, doesn't mean that 1,000 people applied on LinkedIn. It doesn't always mean that. Um, but I will agree on one thing that what I'm seeing out there is companies are completely cost cutting and tightening their belt to such an extent that recruiters are doing more with less. They're less recruiters and they're more open requisitions. So this, AI helps from a productivity point of view. It's a filing cabinet. It's always been that, right? But if you're going to have fewer people and you're going to have more demand and more deadlines and more stress, guess what? People make mistakes. Bad things happen. Good people are alpha era, beta era. Good people are rejected. Bad people are hired. That will happen. So it's I would say to some extent good old fashioned capitalism to blame.
Yeah. Um,
But
what
keep in mind, this is my point of view. Okay, I'm not like speaking on behalf of the recruitment industry.
and that's
This
why,
is what I'm
and
saying.
that's exactly why I called you, Sanal, for your point of view. And not an AI artificially created type of comment. Um, you said that, of course, and I've worked for large companies, and I see how recruiters have gone down in number and how busy they are.
Yeah.
Um, do you think this is a reflection of the company? What I'm heading is that when you look for red flags, let's say I'm interested in company X, and I start engaging with recruiters, and thanks to your guidance and your outreach, I end up talking to someone. Is there any red flag that you see in companies at the time of recruiting or engaging that should inform candidates,
Yeah.
this might not be your first?
Yes. Oh my gosh, that's such a good question. Um, I would say orange flags, Santi, because we don't know if they're red at that time. Because if we're actively looking, we want to say yes because we want to get started because hello, we have responsibilities. But orange flags, I would say things like respect, not negotiable for me, not negotiable. If someone makes you wait, let's say you're in a physical office and someone makes you wait for half an hour, and then you go into the room and they talk to you like nothing has changed, like nothing was wrong, no apology. And I don't mean like my ego needs an apology. I just mean it's the human decent thing to do. Things like that. Things like um I've had this, unfortunately. I wish I didn't have this, but I've seen this with my clients where they started a new role in January and by Feb they said, okay, I know Sonal, I know you don't want to hear this, but this is not working. And you know what, Santi, the signs were there, we didn't want to see them. For example, virtual interview is not a problem, but the person on the other side didn't put on their camera, you have your camera on, that is so creepy. And using a third party for contracts, not not being very forthcoming. It's If this works out, this could be a long term relationship. We spend more time with work people than we do with home people at times, right? So if there is hesitation on the other side, you know it's not it's not necessarily good. Another one is if they move too fast. And I know this sounds weird, but if sometimes within from the time they contact you and then they say we want to hire you and it's only been a week, 2 weeks, and you're like, why? I wonder what's going on. Like, why are they in such a hurry? What are they not telling me? So that's on us to do a little bit more due diligence. So there are unfortunately like bad apples in every community, and I have seen a little bit, and hopefully I don't want to see more. But it's very important what you said. We should keep our eyes and ears open because we think that we hear career coaches on LinkedIn say it's a two-way street. I'm one of those people. And you have to remember it is true because you have to remember you come with certain strengths and you have a power. There is not an imbalance that was at the time of our parents and grandparents' generation. I would say that was more 80-20. The 80% of, the companies they had the power, and 20% or maybe 10% the candidate. Take it or leave it. We'll find someone else. Now we have more thanks to social media. We have more also because I've been hearing about this thing called the war for talent since 2014. And I'm sure you have as well, Santi. You've been in senior leadership roles. One of the hardest things for any manager is finding people, good people. They are not that common. Good attitude, good at what they do is a given. Good skill set is a given. Good attitude is hard to train. People who'll get stuff done when things get hard and they have a like, let's do it. Come on, Sonal. We can do this. I know it's gonna take this weekend. I don't doesn't mind. It doesn't matter. I have a little kid at home. One weekend in years is not gonna kill me. So people who get in there and get their hands dirty and do stuff, we all know that those people are hard to find. So you have to remember that as a candidate as well, that you have. So I would say the power imbalance is still there, but it's like maybe 55-45 now. So you know, don't 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 press it down. Don't press your intuition down when it's telling you that something doesn't feel right.
Sonal, I have a good friend of mine who's a banker,
Mm.
and he always tells me, Santi, no matter what, no matter how much you have made plans, the more you make, the more you will spend. You'll have a nicer house, bigger apartment, nicer car, etc. So how do you reconcile necessity of all these mid-high managers that are on the verge of jumping into senior management that eventually might have lost their jobs recently? How do you reconcile maintaining this lifestyle with the orange flags? First time I heard about orange flags. I'm a football guy, so now I'm yellow or red, okay? Yellow card or red card, but I'll take it. Maybe we will see orange cards soon in football too. How do you reconcile necessity of getting a job to maintain lifestyle? Because everybody has bills to pay, even if
Yeah.
it's not big bills.
Yeah.
And I see some red flags, Sonal, in this.
Yeah.
But I've been for a year out of the job market, and I fear that this break is going to be a bit too long. How do you advise?
Yeah, I know. The fear is real, and I'm not gonna be like completely naive about that. Yeah, the reason I said just going back half a second, just the reason I want to say orange flag is because I feel like the world is already quite black and white today, and we don't keep enough space for orange. Um, I will say a very simple answer here, Santi. We've got to do whatever it takes to pay the bills. Okay. And I'm not talking, my clients are not coming to me because they have a second home in Aspen, or Beatrice or, a boat. These are salt of the earth, good people. And yes, it would be nice to have a couple of vacations. I want to take my kids somewhere they haven't been. I want to pay for college. My parents are getting older. I don't want them thinking about money all the time. I want them to retire and go on a cruise. That stuff. I will say then if there is a role in front of you and they're the only people that are saying yes to you right now and there's nothing else and you don't have a choice, okay? First of all, I'm going to say something important. One of the things I hate is, and I know that I think you had a question for me about worst career choice. Maybe can I cheat and can I tell you that one now? Yeah. I hate this with a passion. I hate this phrase. Beggars cannot be choosers. Stop saying that. Stop listening to that. You're not a beggar. Okay? Nobody's a beggar here. You have this offer in front of you. You've got bills to pay. I will say take it, but take it with your eyes wide open. Have a plan. Do this for 6 months or 1 year and have a plan. And by the way, keep your mind open as well. Because sometimes the reason I said orange flag, Santi, sometimes we could be wrong. And it turns out the person who hired you was a massive troublemaker. Guess what? They ended up getting fired. Or, there was a little bit of a change internally, restructuring. They brought in McKinsey. Things got better. Who knows? I mean, I'm not saying you bring in McKinsey, things get, usually when you bring in McKinsey, things get worse. And I've seen this from personal experience. No offense to McKinsey. But keep an open mind because, they realize or you realize within, it's a large enough company, it's a large enough setup. Maybe I'm better off contributing here or contributing here. And I've seen really good, like happy accidents happen when you say more yes than you say no.
Interesting. What you said in the McKinsey comment. Maybe this is why McKinsey people keep rejecting my invitations to this podcast. I bet I will have a McKinsey leader here to explain themselves out very soon.
My comment is certainly not helpful.
Your comment is everywhere in the internet. I don't know why McKinsey has this target behind their backs, but they have it.
But Santi,
Every
they
country,
were
every
brought
force is
in. I was
against
in a
McKinsey.
company and they were brought in and they were looking at like channels and work stream. That's the word that was used. Literally 2 months, 3 months later, I was helping them. 2, 3 months later, I was out of a job. And one thing that broke my heart, and I'm not going to say this is McKinsey's fault. One thing that broke my heart was why were people who were doing the work at the middle and lower management, why did nobody talk to them? They know stuff. They are sitting on treasure. No one wants to talk to them. Instead, you bring in somebody, you pay them 1.3 million. And they will copy paste. They have replicated sort of models. And that's a pity. So that's not a McKinsey fault because they were brought in, right? So leadership has to also realize so many times innovation and answers are sitting with people who are on the shop floor. Nobody asks them.
Sonal, years ago, I read a principle. It's called the Peter's Principle. And I'm going to try to summarize it in a way that hopefully doesn't rip off Peter's ideas. It says something like people get promoted and promoted until they reach a level of incompetence. Right? At some point, the last promotion is a bit too much, or the last change, but it's a bit too much. And you have said also that many high performers are productive, and this is going back to productivity too, in ways that make them useful, very efficient, but they are not promotable. Why do you say that?
I've seen this with my own, like people I've recently onboarded in my program. They are very much indispensable, and that's a good thing because it talks a little bit about, I'm going to put this in air quotes, job safety. Okay. The reason they are not promotable is there are two reasons. Number one, they're far too valuable where they are today. Okay. And if they were to move, then that skill set goes with them. And companies have not all companies have jumped on the AI bandwagon and get into the brain and replicate the brain. So while this is very flattering for the person, it's very limiting from a career point of view. Where I've seen this with my clients who are like, but no one does what you do, but you do it so well. And, because they worked so hard and they're known for that thing that they specialize in, I'm in data, I'm in analytics, and I'm a superpower. I'm like a super girl in that. The company depended far too much on that particular skill set. And they're like, when it comes to this, she's an expert. And the word expert can sometimes bring an allergy for me, a little bit of an allergic reaction. Because what if you have high potential? What if I want to do both? What if I want to be an expert at something? But you told me that there's a role in Argentina and it's for 3 years. I want to go. I want to go to Buenos Aires. I want to dance the tango. My life is short. I lost a friend during COVID, and I want to live my life. And they're like, no, but you're really good at what you do. So that could be one reason. The second reason can be because we are very much known for that particular thing, our circle of influence is smaller. And we don't have enough advocates and ambassadors who will talk about our work when we are not in the room. So that's problematic. It's limiting our career.
When someone comes to you and says, Sonal, I'm working 60 hours a week. I'm beating my ass out to grow, whatever it is, grow a promotion or a senior position, whatever. But nobody cares about me. What do you tell?
Yeah. I'm going to tell them you got to do less. Stop what you're doing because it's not working. And at some point, tell your fragile ego that if something is not working, it doesn't mean you keep doing more of it. That's literally the definition of insanity, right? So that's one. Second is, People need to know what you want. Start with your boss. And I help my clients internally with promotions as well. We need to have conversations and uncomfortable conversations. The earlier and the more frequently we have them, the better it is. But how you approach these conversations, they matter. How you think about your promotion, like let me give you an example, Santhya. If we were looking at like getting into an executive education program, okay, an exec MBA or some kind of a master's, and I want to go to Stanford or something like that, I'm not going to wake up tomorrow and say I'm going to do it. No, I'm going to make a plan. I'm going to have my ducks in a row. So if you want to have a think about your promotion, it doesn't work like you wake up in the morning and why has no one noticed me? No one has noticed you because, no offense, but they are so busy with their own drama and their own life. You are not the first person they think of when they wake up or when they go to bed. You are the first person that you think of when you wake up and go to bed. So create a plan around it. And one of the easiest ways to think about this is to have the conversation, but not don't ambush your manager, your, the leader that you report into. No one likes to be ambushed like that and then to tell you, sorry, we can't do that. Nobody wants to say no. It is so difficult for us to say no that we have become a human, we become a race that actually ghosts people because ghosting is easier than saying no, which means we have a fear of conflict. And it's not a conflict here. Conflict is a big word, but we don't want to say no. But get into that meeting and say, listen, you're my boss. Santi, you're my boss. Santi, one thing that I've always thought about is I can do more. And when I see the steps in front of me, there's the hierarchy part of it, and there's my skills and what the company needs. This is where I see my career going. I'd love to be what is an AVP. And if I want to do that, like in 1 year from now, what are some changes that you believe I can already work on starting today? So ask your senior stakeholders, people you trust, okay? Ask them for advice. When you ask for advice, you get a job. When you ask for a job, you get advice. So let them feel like they're also contributing because you can make this happen. But you're like, I don't know why I'm not, I'm not reached that level yet. And I wanted to be at this level of income. I'm not there yet. And then, we get a little emotional and then we start threatening. Here, I will say, here, emotions are not your friend. When it comes to negotiations, it's always the calmer, more zen person that will win.
Sonal, what are the most dangerous career assumptions that high achieving professionals can make right now?
What are the most dangerous assumptions that high achieving? Yeah. Number one assumption is I was told this is my job description and I followed it to the T and this is what I did. And it turns out it wasn't enough. But that's not fair. I was told it wasn't enough. But the assumption is I'll do the job description and that's it. The second is I worked really hard. I stayed back and I did nights and weekends. And I thought this hard work would speak for itself. And I wouldn't have to accompany it by holding its hand. That's another assumption.
You have lived in many countries, in 4 continents. Does career visibility work the same way everywhere? Or you think there is an important cultural factor as to how you present and make yourself visible in different cultures?
I feel like it's a universal thing because people are
Uh-huh.
people. People are people. We are, whether we are living in Uruguay, Chile, yeah, Bahrain, New Delhi, Barcelona, it's human beings are human beings. And I feel like there are far more universal characteristics here when it comes to visibility than we realize.
Wow. I would have expected that you would say the opposite, but that
No.
really, really caught me.
Yeah. Why did you think I would say the opposite? That's interesting.
Because the different ways that cultures portray success and leadership and trust that are fundamentally different in each continent in terms of interactions. but then you really got me. In the end, we're all humans, and there might be still nuances, but I guess that
There are always nuances, so there is never an absolute answer. But when we come back to our human needs, and I'm not talking about Maslow needs, because Maslow needs were in the at a time when it made a lot more sense. I'm talking about what, like I said earlier, right? Take care of my family. I want to be a main provider. I mean, I am a main provider. I want to sustain being a good provider, a good member of society. I want to be a good dad. All of that stuff has never changed, and it'll never change. So whatever I need to do to, and a career is such an important part. I don't care what people say, you have your buckets, you have your health, you have your career. I'm not saying don't be healthy, but a career is such an important part of the identity and visibility, um, positioning, earning well, feeling good about going to work, looking forward to Monday morning. These are things that will be, whether it's Tokyo or honestly, Texas. I don't think that it's night and day difference.
Sonal, I have here 5 questions that I have prepared specifically for you to answer in 30 seconds or less.
Let's go.
Number 1 book that every ambitious professional should read that is not a career book.
I'm going to tell you a children's book. It's changed my life. And it has pictures. It's called A Squash and a Squeeze by Julia Donaldson. It's brilliant.
Number 2, what's the worst career advice you've ever had?
Beggars can't be choosers.
3, if you could go back to Sonal, 25-year-old, and tell her one thing only, Sonal, what would it be?
The best is yet to come.
Number 4, what is the most overrated productivity habit?
Scheduling posts on social media weeks in advance.
Number 5, the one thing that separates professionals who grow from those who plateau.
Fragility of ego.
Care to elaborate a little bit on this one?
Yeah, I'll give you an example. I have been on LinkedIn since 2005. I told you it's changed my life. I was voted by the LinkedIn editors team top voice in 2024, 2025. And I've been posting for almost 10 years. So you can say I know a thing or two about this platform really well. A few months ago, someone in Belgium, she blew up and she's doing really, really well for herself. And she has discovered things that I don't know. And she's probably 15 years younger to me. And I signed up to be in her program and I want to learn. I'm like, what is she having? I want to have what she's having. Meg Ryan. So the more open you are to learning, the more open you are to being the dumbest person in the room and not letting your ego get in the way, it's just written on the wall. You're going to be successful. And versus, I don't know what they'll think. It doesn't look good. I should have known this by now. Why didn't I figure this out?
That's beautiful, Sonal. Let's wrap up this conversation. How can people that is as interested as I am right now, how can they work with you? How can they read you? How can they see how you think and work and eventually avail your services?
Yeah, first, thank you so much for having me, Santi. This has been so much fun. My platform of choice is LinkedIn. So just send me a connection request on LinkedIn. Say that you heard me on the Productivi-Tree podcast and what you enjoyed about it. And we can take it from there. And I recommend, whenever you like someone, a guest on any podcast, check them out. Stalk me for a week or two before you reach out. You get a sense of what it's like to be in the same sort of orbit as this person. And send me a connection request, and I always connect with interesting people.
Sonal, I want to thank you again for this very insightful conversation. And I'm taking away a couple of things. There are many nuggets in this conversation, of course, but I'm taking away a couple of things that at this level, and I guess at any level, job search, job hunting, career moves, it's more than ever about crafting, thinking, and preparing it carefully with a plan, with your plan, rather than, mechanically shooting applications or reaching out to people or creating posts. That's the first one. The second one is a more personal one, which is I personally loved the human touch that you bring to this connection. I think it's really important these days, especially because we're talking or you work with a lot of senior people. And when we think senior people, we tend to think career ladder, money, success, more. And I really love how you brought this down to humanity and being yourself and being present and being someone different than someone that can do 50 projects at a time.
Beautiful. Thank you, Santi. Just a quick add there when you said ladder. And there's been some chatter about ladder on LinkedIn, and I loved it. There are two things. Either the ladder is broken or the ladder was on the wrong wall the whole time. Because today's world, the correct word to use is career jungle. Because our careers are not linear. Took a break. Somebody was unwell. I got laid off. I took a break. And I should have been partner by now. No, that world is getting more and more rare. So our definition of success, it's personal. So yeah, thank you so much, Santi. My absolute pleasure.
Thank you so much, Sonal. Thanks for listening to Productivi-Tree. I hope you found something useful in today's episode. If you did, and it helps improve your life even a tiny bit, that'll make me really happy. Remember, you can find Productivi-Tree on all major podcast platforms like Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Google Podcasts. If you enjoyed the show, why not share it with a friend who might also find it helpful? Until next time, and keep growing and stay productive.